What's up, guys? This is Santi Trix, your host of the Hollywood Dreams podcast. And today I have something different for you. This is going to be a top 10 list of favorite albums from 1989. And I'm joined by my good friend David Melicant from Cleveland, Ohio. David's a great guy, really funny guy. He's a vinyl collector, as I am. And he's also working on some pretty cool stuff that you'll be hearing about during the episode. So I don't hold you back too much during this intro because I already explained what this episode is about during the actual episode. So yeah, this is gonna be 89, and then this is gonna be the first one of a series that we're doing. So then we'll do 88, 87, 86, and stuff like that, and maybe we'll get into the 90s. We'll see. All right, so this is gonna be the part one because it's a really long episode. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and yeah, rock on. What's up, guys? Welcome to Hollywood Dreams podcast. Today I have a different episode. We're not doing an interview. Well, we are doing an interview, but not in the way that I have you accustomed to. Today we're doing something different. I thought we could try to change things up a little bit, and so that it keeps being interesting. Today we are doing the top 10 episode. This is gonna be top 10 favorite albums from 1989. And for that, I have my friend David Melicant here. I hope that's how your last name is pronounced.
You got it, man.
Awesome. Okay, so David, welcome to the show.
Santi, thank you. Thank you for having me on, man. Good to see you with the camera. It's cool, man. I like that. So
Yeah,
glad to be
absolutely.
on.
It's a pleasure having you here, man. So, for everyone listening, David is a really, besides being a really cool guy, he's also into the music business, and he's been part of it in some shape or form since the early 80s or early, not early 80s, late 80s, early
Yeah, I would say
90s.
late '80s. I was really,
Yeah.
really into the whole thing. Yeah. So, so it's been a while. It's been I would say maybe like probably around '86, '87. I really started to
Hmm.
take it all in. So
Awesome. So you're from Cleveland, right?
yes, I am born and raised Cleveland, Ohio,
All
home of rock and roll.
right. So awesome. So I'm hearing you also are working on a rock documentary based on the
Yes, I
Cleveland hard rock scene.
Yes, I am. I'm working with quite a few artists from the local scene, also a few artists that went from Cleveland to LA and kind of planted the seed there as well. Danny Kane, as you know, from Legs Up,
Hmm.
he's been like I call him my Mr. Miyagi, man. I mean, he's been there for me. He's like, he's like the old mentor, and he's really stepped up and is helping me out a lot with everything. And
Does he
you
have the
know,
long beard as well?
no, no, no beard, man. He's still got his hair though. It's all good. He's still, yeah, he's still got. He's awesome, man. He's great, and I should have him. I should tell him to grow the beard. I have the beard, man, because I don't have the hair. So, um, I had to get hair somewhere, and no, he's been great, and Todd Lane as well from New Haven. He's been there and is helping
recently,
out a lot.
recently featured on the show.
Yeah, yeah, and good episode too. Good episode. Good guy to talk to,
Thanks.
man. Guy's a trip. I can't wait to hear that Legs Up episode either. And also Brad from Priscilla, Brad Slit.
Hmm.
He's kind of being a good friend and advisor on the whole thing. And as of right now, man, I got a lot of interesting musicians involved, and you know, uh, I just gotta get my interviews lined up so I can get the footage shot. And there's a few surprises that I'm working on, and I don't really want to mention them here because if they fall through, I don't want to look like a
Yeah.
fool, but I'm keeping my fingers
That's
crossed
all
on some.
right.
I believe you know what I'm talking about. I think I did mention it to you. I believe.
Yeah, you did, and I'm excited for you, man. I hope
Yeah, let's hope that
it
comes
gets
true,
through.
man. It'll be
Yeah.
cool. But
Yeah,
yes, oh,
that's gonna be awesome.
yeah, and it's going to be called as of right now, tentatively titled "Cleveland Rocks from Cleveland
Hmm.
to the Sunset Strip." So
Awesome.
that's my working title right now, and hopefully it'll all it'll all come true, and we'll see it in film festivals, and I'll be getting an Academy Award, and life will be great.
Absolutely, yeah. Maybe we'll get a Netflix deal or stuff like that.
Hey, man, I hope so because I just want to open more doors to do more projects. Whether I go into doing my horror movies or if I go doing more music docs. I really love music documentaries, and um,
Mm,
I'm just hoping, I'm just hoping that people watch it and learn something about bands that they may not have, listened to back in the day, or bands that they may have forgotten about. And, I
yeah.
really want it to be a celebration of the music and the scene. Cleveland did have a scene. It's unfortunate that a lot of talented musicians didn't get the chance to live out those big dreams, but in my eyes, they were all rock stars. So
Hmm. Absolutely, and that is exactly the same spirit as my podcast, right? I like to celebrate all these bands that should have been huge or at least bigger than they were, and but for some reason or another they couldn't get their big break. So
yeah,
I really get where you're coming from.
honestly, I think a lot of it had to do with timing with some of these bands who actually had record deals.
Hmm.
Once Seattle started throwing bands at us, it just kind of changed everything. I don't think that scene
Yeah,
necessarily killed the hard rock hair metal scene. I think the record industry did that. But
absolutely. Yeah.
we see it all the time. We see it all the time, even now, man. And I see it a lot. I see it a lot in the country music. They're doing it now.
Mm,
They're getting to that where everybody coming out is like doing this pop country thing, and it's just sometimes you see the writing on
yeah.
the wall, man, and whether it be rock, metal, country, rap, whatever. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's the record. It's the music industry, I guess. So what are you gonna do?
Exactly. All right. So we're doing 1989 favorite albums. So this is not gonna be. This is only gonna be major releases, not band demos or anything like that. We can do a separate episode for that. But did you had a hard time choosing your list?
You have no idea, man. You have no idea. It was hard because there's a lot of great albums that came out that year. A lot of great albums. But to narrow it down to 10, man, you really made me work, man.
It's a hard. Yeah, you only realize many albums came out on that year when you see a list in front of you.
Mhm.
It's massive, right? The
It,
amount
it is.
of and also the quality, right? I mean, some great classic albums came on the same year. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I'm sure I left a couple of those classic albums off, but we'll talk
Mm,
about those. I mean, uh, it was hard for me to
absolutely.
leave those off, but um, they're just I put the ones that meant the most to me. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I had
yeah.
what I had to do.
All right, so for everyone listening, this is favorite albums from 1989. So keep in mind, we're not doing favorite albums from the whole decade. This is not favorite 80s album, so please don't be mad if we don't include some of your from that decade. We're gonna if this episode is something that you like, we're gonna make it a series, maybe. I don't know, David, if you're up for that. We can
I am
make
up
it.
for that, man.
Uh,
I'm up for anything, man. You can, as long as I get to talk music, man. As long as I get to talk about the band, hey, I'm down for anything. I'm easy.
All right. Okay, awesome. All right, so I got my list here. Why don't we start with our honorable mentions, the
Okay.
ones that almost made the cut but didn't?
You want me to go first? Do you want to go first since it's your show?
I'm
How do you
gonna
want to do
put
this?
you on the spot and make you go first.
I will go first. Okay, my first honorable mention, and it was hard to leave this
Hmm.
off the list because of the production and what the band put into it. And that honorable first honorable mention would be "Doctor Feelgood" by Motley Crue. Um,
Oh wow.
I I could not put it on the list um, because as much as I love the album, it just it is a great album. It production wise with
Hmm.
Bob Rock, it's probably Motley Crue's best sounding album, and the fact that all guys were sober during the making of that album really made a difference. You could tell in the songwriting, songs like the title track and then "Kickstart My Heart." And one of my personal favorites off the album is "Time for Change," which I thought was a pretty strong
Yeah.
ballad. And yeah, overall, man, I think it's a great record, and it was hard to leave that off the top 10 list, but I left it off because
Hmm.
there's just so many other albums that mean more to me personally, and that was one of them. Motley Crue were my favorite band at one point, but it just had to be. But that's why I put it first as the first honorable mention because it was close and it was hard for me to leave that one off.
Awesome. So it is also on my list. So I'm not gonna talk about it right now. I'll leave that for when it comes to the for when the time comes. But it is. I totally understand. I totally agree with you. Most of what you just said. I'll expand on that once the moment comes. But yeah, it is also on my list. I'm assuming a lot of these albums will be on both of our lists.
I have a feeling too. I have a feeling me and you are probably pretty similar when it comes to our tastes. So, but we'll see. We'll see. You might go more underground than I do. You might go for those bands that kind of people.
I try not to. I try not to because I don't know, but we'll see. Okay, so my first honorable mention is XYZ, the debut album. That is it is an album that I think had like it's really underrated. I think it's really underrated in the sense that it has a great production by Don Dokken, of course. It has some strong songs, powerful riffs, and while it's not original in the sense that it's not groundbreaking in any way. It's typical 80s late 80s hard rock. It has a groove and a sense of melody that I think stands out from the rest of the some of the albums that came out during the last years of that decade. Um, Terry's vocals are absolutely great. I always love him, and he had a really really prolific career. He put out a lot of stuff over the years, but he's that first XYZ album. I remember hearing it, and I think I just always liked it. It's something about it that I don't know exactly. I mean, again, it's not groundbreaking, and I think that's why I did not include it on the actual top 10. But I just I don't know. I just love it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It did not make my top 10 either, but that's doesn't take away from how great the album is. Obviously,
Hmm.
the lead off single "Inside Out" is a great song. I remember seeing that Headbangers Ball MTV. It was a good song. My favorite track on the album is probably "Can't Stop Me Loving You."
Oh
That's
yeah.
a track that I really like a lot, and yeah, I mean it is a great album. Just overall, just but that was a tough one to leave off the list, but it is sitting here in my honorable mentions. So I think so. There's one that we both agree on as far as honorable mentions.
All right.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. So what's your next one?
My next honorable mention. Okay, this one I have to put on here because this was really hard for me to leave off the top 10 because I recently saw uh, Andrew the singer or Anthony the singer
Mhm.
play in Lakewood, and had a really cool conversation with him and everything. and it's the first Tora Tora surprise attack. And Anthony was a great guy. I mean,
Oh
just
wow.
he was awesome, and this was tough for me to leave off. But if this had been 1991, uh, I think Wild America would probably be on my top 10 list, but that's another time. So, but as far as the debut goes, I really love like the blues influence they brought to it. Um, they really kind of changed things up. I know there was a lot of comparisons to Anthony sounding like Robert Plant um, during that time,
Yeah,
but I listened to it, man. I think it's a great record. Every song from you know the opening track "Love's a Bitch" all the way down to you know "Guilty." "Guilty" is one of my favorite tracks on that album. That is a rockin' tune, and you know,
it's a great
yeah,
album.
that was
Yeah,
that was a tough.
I actually have the
One.
I have the cassette right here. I think. Yeah, here it
Yes,
is.
great. I'm trying to
It
get the album, man, but the album is so pricey, dude. I'm gonna have to take out like a
yeah,
to get that album. I mean, who produced that? Was
yeah,
it Paul?
right.
Who was it? Paul Ebersole? Who produced that album? Paul
Well, let's
Ebersole?
see. Uh, producer. There's a lot of people here, but no producer. Okay, where?
No producer. It's gotta be on there somewhere.
Art
I'm trying to remember.
direction,
I know it was somebody I'd never really
photography.
heard of before,
There's a pretty
but
lady here, but
oh yeah, yeah, I remember that. I remember that. I actually had that tape autographed by the band back in the day. I was
oh really?
telling Anthony that too. Did you find one?
Mark Weiss, maybe? No, there's no
That
like. There's here it is. I think
on the front.
mastered. Okay, so mastered by Bob Ludwig.
Yeah, it's mastered. Huh. I don't know why
But
wouldn't that one
engine
show a producer.
Joe Hardy engineers Joe Hardy and Paul no, but not produced. Well, produced by Joe Hardy, yeah,
Joe Hardy.
and
Okay.
Paul Aversel, yeah.
Oh, it was produced by both of
Okay,
them. Okay. I mean,
yeah,
I got
yeah.
one out of two, so that's all right. I remember that stuff. I don't have that album right in front of me. I just know that I love it. I love it, like being there and Phantom Rider and Walking Shoes, of course. I mean, just a great album. Great album.
Yeah, I tend to like their second album more.
Mhm.
Wild America, I think that's my favorite from them. But yeah, it's a great record. It's a great record.
It is, but
Okay.
not great enough to be on my top 10. Sorry, guys. But Wild America, we'll talk about that when we do albums of 1991 or whenever that came out. I think it was 91.
Uh, yeah, yeah, I think so too. Okay, so my second honorable mention goes to Giant Last of the Runaways,
Great record.
which yeah, and it's sort of different from the rest of the albums on this list. It's a hard rock album, that's for sure, but it's also very melodic. It has a lot of keyboards, a lot of melodies, different melodies, and it didn't make my list because I don't think it has that many strong songs. There's some filler, at least in my opinion. But the first half of the record, it's absolute killer for me. And it has really complex melodies too. It's not straightforward rock and roll. It has some really some nuances that I always loved. So songs like "Innocent Days" or "I'll See You in My Dreams." And Dan Huff, I think he has an amazing voice. Um,
Yeah.
they released an album this year, but they changed singers. I think I don't follow them that much, but they're still going. And this is a band that I always loved. I also prefer the second album a bit more, maybe, but that's
Mhm.
1992, so that's why I did not include it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that that album's great. It's good AOR and unfortunately, there wasn't enough album or enough songs on that album to really jump out and make it stand out. To me. In fact, I don't even. It's not even on my honorable mentions. But
Hmm.
not to take away anything away from Dan Huff. I mean, he's great. He's a great songwriter, excellent producer. He's got a big career going now with country music, working with like Keith Urban and Brantley Gilbert, to name a few of
Yeah.
the guys that he's worked with.
Did you know that he played background vocals on a Michael Bolton album?
I did not know that. Is that the How Can We Be Lovers album? That one? That
Soul Provider. Yeah, his
oh, that would, yeah, I
1989
think that is,
album.
yeah, I think that is the one.
Yeah, I think that's
It
yeah,
doesn't
yeah, yeah,
surprise me though. 'Cause Dan Huff is very into the melodic, the pop, just
yeah,
commercializing a good sound like that. And Michael Bolton was straight up. By that point, he was just straight up pop. You know,
yeah,
soft rock type
absolutely.
of stuff. A far cry from his earlier records, Michael Bolton.
Yeah,
Not that I was a
I
big
think
fan, but
there's
Michael Bolton kind of rocked back in the day. So
yeah. I mean, his first band, Blackjack, opened for Ozzy Osbourne.
yeah, yeah. Oh my
Um,
God, how long
there you
ago was
go.
that? It
Yeah,
had to be a while ago.
yeah.
I remember that band, but I don't know their history. I really don't know. Um, I got maybe I should kind of get more familiarized with my Michael Bolton. I don't know.
I mean, his first albums. Yeah, I like some of his stuff. His first albums are kind of good, but I don't know.
Mm.
It's the music that my mom listens to, right? So it's never gonna be cool.
I can guarantee the listeners this: Michael Bolton and the album that had "How Can We Be Lovers" will not be on our honorable mentions or our top 10 of
No, no,
1989.
absolutely not. I think there's a song produced by Desmond Child on that album as well.
Oh, there probably
That's I
is.
mean,
Desmond Child was getting his hands in everything back then.
yeah.
He was
All right,
he was
let's
doing
stop talking about Michael Bolton and get back to
Let's move
our
on.
list.
Next.
All right, so what's your next? Do you have any honorable mentions left,
I
or
do, man. I have a few. I mean, I wrote a handful of them
okay?
down, but I'm going to show you one. Here's one because I really like this album, and this was tough for me to leave off the list because I really dig this album, man. It's Tangier, Four Winds.
Oh wow,
This is
yeah.
this is an excellent. I mean, if you like that like blues kind of southern
Mm,
rock type of feel, if you let's get a chance, listen to the song "Southbound Train." Man, that song is killer. "On the Line" is a killer song. I mean, dude, I love that album. Produced by Andy Johns, who worked with Cinderella. Um, yeah, it's a great record. That was another. That's see, there's so many that were tough to like. Man, I don't put this on here, but the top
yeah.
10 is strictly ones that just mean a little more. But that Tangier album, man, I really thought that band was going to be a lot bigger. I expected it, but by the time they put out their second album, they had changed singers. So with that,
Yeah. Well,
hard
it's
to
timing. Timing is everything, right?
yeah.
When with these bands, if that album came out in 86, 87, something like that, so maybe it would have been a different story.
It could have been because it's a very melodic record. It has some rockin' tunes. It has some like slower stuff, but the southern groove through the whole thing, man, is it's an excellent record, and
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that probably haven't even heard it. A lot of people probably never even heard of the band. I mean, they were here and there,
Mm,
that fast. There's actually an album out
yeah.
before that. That is pretty good as well. But that one, man, that was a tough one to leave off. But
Well,
there's
and
many.
it's a band that is I think it's pretty similar to the Tora Tora sound.
Yeah, I think the vocals are a little different. What was that? Their singer's name? I can't think of his name. Bill Matson. He's a little bit different than Anthony Corder. He doesn't have that high pitch that Anthony has, but yeah, definitely in that vein, and definitely we're in the same vein, and being that they're from Philadelphia, it's probably they're in that same vein as the kind of where Cinderella was going with Long Cold Winter and later on with Heartbreak Station. So it was kind of they're kind of in that, kind of got that vibe going, and maybe a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of Bon Jovi there too. So
Yeah, yeah, cool. It's a cool band. It's not on my honorable mentions list, but yeah, I like that. I tend to forget about it, but I do like it.
and that's the problem. I feel like a lot of people tend to forget about them guys. So I figured I'd
All
give
right, so
Tangier a shout out. So there you go, Tangier.
well,
I
maybe
checked,
we can have them on
I
the
checked it
show.
in the mail.
Maybe we can have them on the show.
Yeah, man,
Um,
we could.
yeah. All right. So my next album is it's obscure as well. Well, sorta. I don't know. Maybe you heard about it. Diving for Pearls, their debut album.
Wow, yeah. Not on mine. I totally lost track of that one. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's really that's
I
still really obscure.
it's really obscure. I do have it on vinyl.
Do you?
Somewhere, yeah,
Oh,
somewhere over
okay.
there. It's
We can just
somewhere on
start
that
digging into our
pile.
vinyl. We have to do a vinyl episode. We could do that. That'll be.
We could,
I'll do
we
Double
absolutely
Diced
could.
Compare.
Yeah, we
That would
absolutely
be
could.
cool,
But
man.
it's an album that a band, an album that I always loved. They released this one and then kind of disappeared up until I don't know 2002 or something like that when they released like a or 2005 something like that. They released their like a second album but a different sound. It was not the same. Um, but this album, I always from the crowd as well. They were from Boston. They had this more melodic, almost alternative sound, like gothic or something like that. They played with that on like on the edge. It reminds me maybe of other bands like Lions and Ghosts. Lions and Ghosts. If you heard of them, they were also had
I'm
this
familiar with them.
like this fusion sound. um,
Mhm.
but I always loved Dying from Pearls, especially this song "Never on Monday." I always loved that song, and their guitarist Yul Vasquez actually went on to have sort of a good acting career. He was on, I think. What was it? War of the Worlds, Bad Boys 2, some Adam Sandler movie. I don't know. He
Wow.
always played like the generic Latin American guy, I think, but he wasn't he had sort of a career after the band broke up. Um,
He
but
was
yeah, they
was that guy in D. Snyder's movie, the Strangeland? Was he in Strangeland? Does he have piercings and tattoos and everything? Is it that guy?
no. Now he has a clean face,
Oh, okay.
but I don't know.
I was thinking it might have been that guy because that guy pops up in a lot things and he looks like a rocker dude. And
If, no, I
so,
think he cut his hair and all. He changed his look up totally.
hmm.
But yeah, this album I always loved, and I was surprised when I found it on vinyl. It's a Brazilian pressing that for some reason they decided to press it down in Brazil. Um, and yeah, I found it like for nothing, $1, something like that. And
Oh wow, well that's a good
yeah, this
find.
guy. Well, yeah, this guy said, "I don't know what the fuck this is. Just take it." and,
I I had a record store guy do that to me, man. It was a punk rock store, right? And I was just kind of
yeah.
flipping through, and I came across um God, what's that band? Steel Panther. It was a picture disc, full album,
Oh wow.
The guy had written on the box, "These are free, fucking take them." I'm like, whoa, and I'm like, seriously, Steel Panther? He's like, dude, it's yours, man. Full album, picture disc,
For
everything. I was like, yeah,
free.
I'll take that for free. Yeah, just a
Oh
box. He
wow.
said, fucking take this. It was kind of funny,
Just
man.
take
I
the
was
whole box.
like, okay. Yeah, there was some really bad stuff in there, man. But I probably could have sold that stuff, picked up maybe
Yeah.
one good record.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hey,
That's
50
awesome.
cents a piece. Yeah, man, it was cool. I mean, that was my first Steel Panther album. So I can't remember. I think it was their last one or one before the
Mm,
last. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I
that's a good
kind.
sign.
Yeah, it's a good. It's definitely a good find. I'm not that much of a fan, but I like the first album.
Hmm.
Um, all right. So what's your next album?
My next one would be, once again, this is another one. It's kind of tough to leave off the list, but it really didn't do much for me when it came out. And it's funny because I'm wearing the shirt, but it was Junkyard's debut album, and
Oh yeah.
I think I like it more now than I did back then. But I'm trying to,
Mm,
I was trying to stick when it came to my top 10. I was trying to stick with albums that kind of got into my, into my soul, like right from the moment I heard it. And Junkyard, I liked Hollywood. The song that really did it for me though was Simple Man. I really dig that song. I think that's probably one of the strongest tracks on the album. Um, and it's
yeah.
cool. It's cool that Brian Baker is on there. I listen to Minor Threat and I listen to Bad Religion and all that stuff. So that was kind of cool. It kind of gave it, they do kind of have that punk, hard rock, kind of blues. They got a little bit of everything going on, and definitely a band. I think I dig six, sevens, and nines. Is that their second album? I think I dig that album a little bit more, but yeah, that definitely the debut from Junkyard is definitely
Yeah, that's.
worth an honorable mention for sure.
I also have that one on vinyl. They reissued it actually on yellow
Yeah,
vinyl
that's the
some
one
a
I
few
have.
years
Yeah,
ago. Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Is it like yellow? It's a yellow vinyl or something.
Yeah. That one exactly.
It's cool. Sounds good. It's a good reissue.
So it sounds good, and it's also high quality vinyl
Yeah,
and slipcase, which is something I always appreciate because with some of these reissues, the packaging is it's the quality of packaging is so bad.
yeah, yeah,
Like the cardboard sleeve, and they have no insert when the original had one.
yeah. I don't like that. I like when they stay true to the
Mm,
original release.
yeah,
If you can't find the original release and what they're charging for these vinyls, they might as well just go ahead and spend the extra money to do the packaging right because honestly, dude, I'm a sucker for packaging. If something looks good,
yeah.
even if I'm not that familiar with it, I might pick it up just because it looks cool.
Oh man, marketing works 100% on me. I mean,
Dude, it sucks you in, doesn't it? Oh my god.
yeah. Abs- okay, so
So
I got
yeah,
one last honorable mention, and it's Cats in Boots, Kicked and Clawed.
I I dig that album. I dig that album.
Yeah,
It's not on
it's
my
a
list,
fantastic.
and it's not in my honorable mentions. It's one that I kind of forgot about, but I do dig that album.
Yeah, I was so close to putting it at number 10, but for some reason I thought now he has to go in the honorable mentions. But it's a great album that has a lot of great songs. Sadly, they never released anything else other than demos and stuff like that. They were sort of a quote unquote super group. They were half Japanese, half American, and.
Mhm.
But they never released anything else. But I always love their sound. They remind me like of a fusion between I don't know, Faster Pussycat and Guns N' Roses or something like that. I- but they were really good, and it's an album I always like. I was almost certain it came out in 1990, and I only realized it came in 89 when researching for this episode.
I think it came late in '89.
It might have, yeah,
I'm trying to think
it
when
might have,
Shotgun Sally came out because I think Shotgun Sally was the lead off single. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I think
I
that might have
think I
been late '89.
prefer, yeah, I think I prefer the song. My favorite song on that album is "Bad Boys Are Back." I think I
Mhm.
like that one more. It's a
Yeah,
really, but
I like a lot of the songs better than Shotgun Sally.
yeah,
Um, sometimes
well,
sometimes I don't understand. what the record company's thinking when it comes to releasing that first single. Because sometimes I
Yeah.
don't like the first singles. As a lot of times I'm like, man, it's if that's the song that's going to get me into the band and like say, okay, here it is.
Hmm.
It's got to be, it's got to be a Youth Gone Wild or a something like that, man, where it really grabs you.
Yeah.
Or and
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and I think Love Hate, for example, suffered from the same thing.
yeah,
They released all crappy songs as singles for some reason, not the ones that they should have, and and I think, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's us having more insight now that 30 years have gone by, or what it is, but
yeah, I'm sure
for
it has
some reason,
something to do
yeah.
with it. Yeah, you get to look at it differently, and
Mm.
it's,
Yeah, and I also think it has to do with what the label wanted from the band, right? I
the label
remember
knows
hearing
best,
this
right?
interview. I mean, you say that. I remember hearing an interview with Paul Taylor from Winger.
Mhm.
He said that for their second album that they didn't want to they recorded Easy Come Easy Go just like a few days before the album came out because the label wanted to have like a hit single. They
Mhm.
wanted to do more of an experimental, almost prog album, which I think the songs like Rainbow in the Rose and stuff like that almost hit that spot.
Yeah, they're on
Uh,
the corner. Yeah,
yeah, but the label wanted 17 all over again, so that's why they made. Well, same thing happened to Warren, right, with Cherry Pie.
yeah, yeah. They Janie had to go and write Cherry Pie,
Yeah,
because that
and
dude,
we
Uncle
know what
Tom's Cabin
happened with
was a
that.
great lead off single on that. So that would have been crazy.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Didn't Winger actually submit a full album to Atlantic, and they were like, no, you have to go back and reread. And that's how they ended up with In the Heart of the
Exactly,
Young.
yeah.
Is that
That's
what
what happened. Yeah, they
I
said,
thought
"No,
that's what
this is all
happened. Like I thought it
shit."
was an entire album, and they're like, no, this ain't gonna
They had
work.
the album ready. They had the album ready, and the label was like, "No, this is all crap. Okay, do something different." And
Which is a shame because Kip Winger is I, he's one of the most talented writers, musicians out there now, man. I mean, the guy's doing, he's doing musicals and everything. I mean, he's writing everything, and he doesn't get enough credit, and maybe that's Beavis and Butthead's fault. I don't know, whoever's
yeah.
fault it is, but uh, Kip Winger doesn't get enough credit for what he
No,
does.
absolutely, absolutely. I was
And
thinking about that the other day. Yeah, he said he's in everything. If you start to take a look into like liner notes on albums, you there's so many albums that have him as backing vocals or
Mhm.
co-writer, producer. It's crazy.
Yeah, yep,
He knows.
it's
Yeah.
crazy,
Okay,
talented,
so what's
crazy.
your well, yeah, absolutely. So what's your last
My
honorable
last
mention?
honorable mention is Dangerous Toys.
Oh
Another one
yeah.
that I was struggling with putting on the list, but there were just songs on there that I thought were just some of the lyrics were kind of corny to me. Um, that's what kind of kept it off. Songs like "Sporting a Woody," it's
Sporty
funny.
Woody. I was gonna say that.
It's like okay, it's hilarious, at the time, but and then there were other songs, but there were some really good songs. "Feels Like a Hammer," I think, is a great song. "Tease and Pleasing,"
Scared.
"Scared"
Yeah.
is a great song. I love "Scared" because I love Alice Cooper, and I love the horror stuff. So, and it does have one of the best album covers from that time. I love that album cover, and yeah,
Yeah.
it just and that's a tough one that I had to leave off. But and I met them. I met the band back then. They did an in store at this place called Shattered Records out here by me here in Cleveland, and yeah, that was cool when they did an in store. But it was like at the time I thought they were like because they were like the Texas version of Guns N' Roses to me. They were a little more raw. They were um
Right.
so yeah, I mean that was Yeah, that'll definitely be that. Yeah, I just couldn't put it on the list. Unfortunately, it's just not
Well,
enough.
it is on my list, so we
Yeah,
can I can discuss that afterwards. But it did
hey,
made my list.
you know what? I do kind of like how that is though, because we're not picking the same things for the list, so that's cool. That's
No, right,
I like
exactly,
that. So our
exactly,
lists are definitely going to be different. So I like that.
exactly. Yeah, and now I'm actually kind of thinking I should have changed some of these, but that it's too late for that. So let's jump
Oh
into
man, this
the
is it. It's written in stone now. You
yeah.
this is you got to take these this top 10 to your grave, buddy.
Yeah, yeah.
This is it. You can't
Here
change
lies
this one. This is
Santi.
documented.
Yeah, here lies Santi, loving father, brother. His top 10 was absolutely shit.
On the back of the stones, we'll have our top 10 list. We'll be all crossed out.
Yeah.
I
Can
kind
you
of like
believe
you
this
know what
guy?
you know what this is now. You know, it's good. You ever watch that metal show on VH1 Classic by any chance with
Yeah,
Eddie Trunk and all them guys
Eddie
and
Trog, yeah.
Quarantine and everybody? Uh, dude, it was cool. They would always do that. They'd always have that list, you know, and they'd be like moving stuff, and that's gonna look like our top 10 list. It's just gonna be all these like everything crossed out. Oh damn, I forgot about that one. You know, cross it out. But anyway, with that being said, we go. I'm sticking with this list, and yeah, let's see how different we really are.
Yeah. Okay. So my number 10, official number 10, is Shotgun Messiah, their debut album. Well, if you can call it a debut, right?
Yeah, it would be the debut. It would be the debut.
it, it will be the debut with that under that name at least. But yeah, I think it's a great record. It has a even though it is your typical 80s record, it has some nuances. I think the guitar sound is really different. It was almost approaching that industrial, almost Marilyn Manson style sound that they will later make. And of course, James Cole
And
they went on to join
yeah, about to say
Marilyn
James Cole
Manson.
went on to be with
Yeah,
Miracle.
yeah,
So
right. But
now,
I think
before you
you
get
can
too much
see,
into that, man, before you get too much
yeah.
into it, my number 10 was Shotgun Messiah, the debut.
Oh
So I'm gonna
wow.
start this out, but I got to throw a wrench in there, man, because that was the one I was struggling with because of this album right here.
Oh yeah, Leatherwolf.
So,
That's a great record.
dude, I'm putting in a tie at number 10, but we could talk Shotgun Messiah because that was my original number 10. But Leatherwolf, I have to put Leatherwolf on the list too. So, but with that being said, Shotgun Messiah, it's you lead off, so go ahead. I just wanted to point that out that we might as well just stay on
Yeah,
random for a little bit.
yeah. Okay, okay. So yeah, I mean, I think you can hear hints of that in more alternative sound on this album. More so on their second coming, the second
Mhm.
album. But I think that at least on this one, there's something there that separates them from the rest of some of these bands that we've been talking about, right? And I always liked Sini Zam's guitar sound and his vocals as well.
Mhm.
While James calls, as of course too, but I don't know. There's so much. There's so much melody and so the powerful riffs, catchy tunes. I don't know. I leave them out.
That second half of that album, the last like four
Yeah.
songs, Nowhere Fast, Dirt Talk, oh, I'm Your Love, which is a great song, and Nervous. You go through those last four. That is a hell of a way to end an album, man, because that really sticks with you with those four songs. It is produced by Harry Cody and Tim, so
Mm-hmm.
the band put out what they wanted to, and I believe it was on
Exactly.
Relativity Records or something. There was some record label that wasn't very big, but I think that gave the band more. more choices and what they did and more freedom on the record. It's a heavy record. It's
Yeah.
great. It's got. I mean, I shouldn't say heavy because it's not heavy like heavy. It's.
No.
That was my attempt at sounding like a distorted guitar. But it's got a lot of like energy driven tracks, man, that just kind of pump you up and get you songs like Don't Care About Nothing.
Yeah.
And of course, Shout
Nowhere
It Out.
fast.
Nowhere
Yeah.
Fast. Yeah, Nowhere Fast. That's what I'm talking about, man. Once you hit Nowhere Fast, and then those last four songs that round off the album are just they're killer, man. They really you don't forget that record. You do not forget that record. And that's why I
Absolutely not.
feel
And yeah, and I remember when I first heard of this band. So for everyone listening, I'm 30, so I didn't hear most of these bands up until the internet was a thing. so um,
I was there from the
so
beginning.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I was there. I was
he's
buying the tapes, right when they came
you
out.
are you are the original Shotgun Messiah. So yeah, so yeah, so I remember reading about them, and now these are a bunch of posers, and they with each album they change their sound, their looks. They're just a bunch of posers. They were created, they were fabricated by the record company and shit like that. So I always have, I always, when I first heard them, I came with this like preconceived notion of them, right? And but when I don't know. I mean, they are every band is allowed to change their sound. I think it's true that we did their first iteration when they were called Kingpin is much well. It's the same record, right? But they have this
Same,
glammier
yeah,
look. It's the same record, but they
yeah,
have this. Their style was more glammy, at least visually. Their second album is more of a stripped down, not
yeah.
not the sound,
And
but
City
the
wasn't on the
looks
album
is
either, so that changed
yeah.
everything.
And their third
City
record
was doing
is
all the vocals.
yeah, and their third album is absolute industrial metal, right? It's nothing like
Yeah,
the other ones. But I mean, I feel like a band is allowed to do that. They did what they did to survive in an ever changing music scene, and I think they stayed true to their sound, even though they changed some things here and there. And let's face it, everyone changed stuff from record to record.
yeah. Everybody was just
Yeah,
doing everything they could to stay afloat, man.
yeah,
Unless you were a Def Leppard or a Bon Jovi or Metallica or whatever, it was just these guys needed to survive, man. They were so used to a lifestyle, and especially these like newer bands that were coming out at the time, like Shotgun Messiah, only had one album under their belt. What do you
yeah.
expect them to do? The music scene was changing. They knew they weren't going to be able to do an album like the first one. It
No,
just it just couldn't happen, man. It just couldn't happen. And if it would have
right.
happened, it would have been, you know, it would have been a
Disastrous.
disaster.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
exactly.
So yeah, we do agree on that. So Shotgun Messiah at number 10. But I do want to talk about my other number 10. And
Okay.
it's the only one I did this with. The rest of my list is of course Leatherwolf Street Ready. That was one I couldn't put it as an honorable mention, man. I had to squeeze it in here. So actually, I guess I go with a top 11. Um, but that is a great record, man. And I put that right up there with Shotgun Messiah, man. It's got the same kind of energy to it. They had they were one of the originators of the triple axe attack, which was great. I mean, that's what they were known for. Um, but that album, with a couple songs, Hideaway, of course, and this song, The Way I Feel, another like kind of a cool radio, could have been a radio hit. But yeah, man, I just yeah. So I put that in there. I guess I kind of cheated on that, but I'll keep it real on the next. I'll keep it real on the next nine. But
I
there's
think
my other wolf.
I think it's a great record. I gotta be honest with you. I only heard like three songs. I only remember three songs from it. The title
This
track
would be a
being
good song
one
to
of them.
revisit it, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Revisit this
will. I
record.
will. Yeah, Street Ready. I
Street
think it was
Ready,
the song.
1989. Yes.
Yeah. The
Produced by Tony.
Calling is the Calling on that album as well.
The Calling is not. The Calling is on the album prior to that.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
got it.
I
Yeah,
believe The Calling is on the self-titled Leatherwolf album, and that's a great
yeah.
song
That
too. Great song too. That's a great album too. But
yeah, but much more heavier though, right?
yeah, it's a lot heavier. Yeah, that's one of
Mm,
those bands, man. You can't really label them. You can't really stick them in a. They're not glam. They're not thrash. They're not. You know, it's
yeah,
hard to
it's a
put a
mix.
category.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
like
yeah.
it. I like it. I like what they were doing, and
Okay, so sorry to interrupt, but this is the where we stop for the first part of the top 10 favorite albums. I know we barely scratched the surface, and we've already been an hour into it. So I'm stopping here, and we'll continue on part two. See you then.